Hey guys, Professor Bill of Comic Book University, and Infinity Countdown, issue number 2 of 5. Don't mind the clicking in my voice, that's the cough drop to stop me from coughing everywhere. Okay, so this comic book was pretty good. Alright, it was pretty good. I think that the least believable thing that happened in here was that a woman was able to keep on fighting while she's going through labor. Nope, sorry, got 4 kids. I'd be impressed if that were the capability. This would have to be one heck of a woman and have like the best jeans in the world. And I'm not talking about what she's wearing on her hips. Because, wow. Groot is funny in here. Look, I'm going to be honest. I would much prefer the innuendo of what Groot is saying as opposed to actually being able to read what Groot is saying, especially since he's speaking in the third person, but like, Groot shall destroy you, Groot is not afraid, Groot spits in your mother's face. Like, I mean, he doesn't actually say that last one, I made that up, but like, I don't actually want to know what Groot is saying necessarily. I like the subtlety behind it, I like the ambiguity of what he could be saying, but it's pretty cool. He got swallowed by this giant Groot monster called Scar, and Scar starts immediately puking flowers, and he pukes all over Nova and Star-Lord, and like, do these flowers look poisonous or something? Like, what's going on here? It just turns out that Groot allowed all these flowers to overflow Scar's belly, so he just explodes from the inside, and just, yeah, wow. Groot is victorious, just as Groot foretold. It's funny, but let that stop after Infinity Countdown. It's funny right now. Let's not do that. So the Milano gets destroyed. they're trying to fly straight into the Chitauri champion, and that's just not happening, dude. He turns around with his battle axe and just splits the Milano in two, literally 2 separate pieces right down the middle. So they try this old tactic that worked really well the first time, but if you like the Marvel Superheroes role-playing game and you check out my videos on gadgeteering, check out the specific one on kit bashing. It was the second to last one for gadgeteering. And Groot kit bashed here because the Galactus thing is like, oh, I'm coming now, and all of a sudden, like, he starts falling apart. The booster rockets fall apart. It completely, like, certain parts would start exploding all over the place. The head pops off, like bolts and nuts and pieces are all over the place. This is great. This is great comedy. Go figure, from the guy who wrote Deadpool for the past how many years? So this was awesome, dude. It was cool. There's a lot of really funny moments in here. Richie Rider finally meets up with Robbie. He's like, "You're a Darkhawk? You're still alive? We're both still alive? What's going on here?" What happens? Stephen Lang, little Ant-Man, trying to reduce the size of the Power Stone is hysterical. It's like, this thing doesn't necessarily work on science, right? So maybe if this were the 6th universe, that might work, but not here, I'm afraid. Not here. So there's just so many bad things that are happening here for these poor Guardians. And at one point, we finally get to switch over to Adam Warlock, and once we switch over to Adam Warlock, I suddenly realized that we didn't have any text boxes before this. There were no narration boxes for the most part. It was just people yelling at each other, which I thought was pretty interesting. And then it switches over to text boxes, and basically Adam Warlock goes to try and confront the Magus, but it turns out that when Kang said, "Go meet your darker half," he was talking about Ultron, apparently. It seems that way, and that's interesting because Ultron is not a creature that comes from man. He was created by man instead. So he shows up and he's tearing through these things, but then he comes to face with Henry Pym directly, and he's got the Silver Surfer as a prisoner, and he's trying to turn him into an Ultron robot, which is crazy. It's crazy. So this is looking fun. It looks like we're going to have the next issue. Looks by the cover, it looks like it'll be Ultron Silver Surfer versus Adam Warlock. In which case, Adam Warlock, for the most part, doesn't stand a chance because he doesn't have his soul gem with him. So, not looking good for him, brother. Now, I mentioned that Jerry Duggan is writing this, and the writing is awesome. I didn't mention who the writer or the artists are because I just don't feel like they live up to this comic book, unfortunately. And I'm sorry, just it is what it is, man. Um, like a book like Avengers No Surrender is out, and it's just tearing through. Like it's just amazing. It's amazing week after week after week. It's an incredible comic book that I'm glued to and I'm attached to. But here we got a monthly comic book. And mind you, next month we're going to get issue 3, but we're also going to get a bunch of one-shots. We're going to get the Captain Marvel one-shot and the Daredevil one-shot. Also, the Infinity Countdown Darkhawk #1 is going to be out, but that's not going to be a one-shot. That's a mini series. It's a limited release. It's issue #1 of 4, and that's going to be a bi-weekly release, so bi-monthly, I should say. Once every 2 weeks, the issue will come out, so every other week. So that's cool. We're going to get a bunch of Darkhawks, and 2 issues of the Champion. But and next month, the month after, we'll get a one shot with the Black Widow. All of it sounds cool, but yeah, for now, like just the art isn't living up to my expectations, and it isn't living up to the writing, and that's kind of I'm not saying the art is terrible. Like the Galactus scenes look great, but like when it gets to the Adam Warlock part, especially, it really just shows through. It's like, what am I looking at? So, yeah, sorry, I hate to be the bearer of bad news. I'm saying, and I don't like to insult anybody. Just, yeah. Anyway, that's it for me, guys. Professor Bill comic book. Need a grade, right? All right, fine. You can have a grade for this thing. I'm going to give this a B. This was, the writing was just superb on this. And every part where I thought, oh, come on, all of a sudden it's just like, no, see? And it's like, oh, okay, yeah, oh, I see what your point, yeah, that's your point. Okay, good. It was really cool. So, like I said, I really appreciate the writing in this. It's great. Just that art, man, drags it down. All right, guys. Professor Bell, Comic Book University. Class dismissed.